What up, though? What up, though, brothers and sisters? This is your brother, SPEAKROC. Hey, I'm excited tonight. I am so excited. Look, I got some good stuff for you. I got a brother that's out of North Carolina. He's a coach. He's a mentor. He's a motivational speaker. This man is an author. As a matter of fact, I have his book right in front of me right now. It's called Thrive. And the individual I have right here today for you, this brother goes by the name of Jamon Glover, and it's also Jamon Glover Speaks. Now, let me tell you a little bit more about Jamon Glover. Jamon Glover, even though his book is called Thrive, he has an organization listed as Thrive as well. And what he does, he goes around and he speaks to people, and he emphasizes, issues of leadership, manhood, a variety of topics. If you want to get into parenting, mentoring, this gentleman is well-versed, well-rounded. He's a Army veteran. I mean, right then and there, I'm already loving that, because we know that he has some substance to him. He's a man of morals. He's a man of values, a man of principle. And look, I've done the best I can do to try to introduce him, but I know that's not enough. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome a brother to the SPEAKROC platform, Mr. Jamon Glover. What's going on, sir?
What up, though?
That's right. What up, though?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. How you doing, bro?
Hey, I'm good now, man. I'm excited. I'm excited about to see what God gonna do tonight, man, for the people.
Man, look, I've been following you probably social media for about a good year now.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen your moves. I see what you want to do, see where you headed, and I love it. Because as you just said, man, I'm all about changing the culture. A lot of times where I come from is this. You can mentor or coach adults. You can mentor and coach children. But if you don't hit the two together, then there's still a disconnect.
Mm-hmm.
You go mentoring young men, young women, and send them back to a dysfunctional space where the parents hadn't quite caught up, then they squash their light.
Okay.
It's kind of like when somebody gets saved for the first time and they start learning the scriptures and they walk around, they quoting, but they so on fire, but the people around them may not be there. So after a while, you start seeing that joy die.
Right.
And I've seen that too many times in our community, man. So I'm trying to hit all angles: parents, kids, aunties, uncles, siblings, and trying to change the culture one family at a time, man.
Absolutely. And, I just got my Thrive copy. Okay. Thank you for that. I got an autographed copy on top of that, people. I'm just letting y'all know. I mean, this is just a good brother. And he has a story, man. He has a story from beginning to end, life lessons. He gives you keys in this book. Once again, this just isn't for youth. He is a holistic thinker, and he wrote it for everybody. So I highly encourage you all. I'm going to put a link in the description on where to get the book from. Matter of fact, before we end, he's going to give us all his, connections and platforms where he can be reached. And look, we going to cover it. You all will reach out to this brother because it's going to be that good. With that being said, man, let's jump right into it. We ain't going to tell the whole book, but hey, tell us where you from. Let's do this. I want to tell me where you from. And I'm going to be honest with you. I want to jump right into, you had an accident. You had a serious accident. And because of that, I look at accidents as what you call life-altering events. Life-altering events, they change people. And yes. I want you to share your story about how what the accident was, the severity of the accident, and how it was a life-altering event for you. So give us some history about you, man. Where are you from? What you've been doing? And jump into the accident for me.
Okay, so I am originally from New Jersey, and I was born in a time where let's see, it was right around the same time hip hop was born. So the city was kind of buzzing. Drugs was really starting to hit the streets. Crack was really, hitting hard, So my parents was like, well, let's get this kid out of here. And we got family in a little small town called Henderson, North Carolina. And so if you're from Henderson, it's Henderson. It's not Henderson, it's Henderson.
Yeah.
That's how you know who's authentic and who's not.
That's right.
So I spent most of my life, man, I was really ADHD, kind of really hyper kid. I had this thing for biting people. I bit my godmom, I bit my grandfather, I bit my cousins. I was a biter and a fighter from an early age. Mm-hmm. And the reason I was that way was I am the 8th child of my father's. I was the first of my mother's. My dad didn't believe I was his kid. And so that gave me a piece of the feeling of not wanted. I felt like my mom regretted me. So there was this huge disconnect in my household where it was 5 people in the house, but nobody ever really talked. And so I was an angry teenager. So I got into everything from fighting to drugs to, everything. And so you fast forward probably 20 years, now I got my own family. And I'm realizing that I'm not that good as a parent. I'm realizing I'm doing the military thing, but then I get out and I'm lost for a while. So I take some jobs in corporate America. I made really decent money, but I wasn't really fulfilled with it. And I just got this contract because I went to school for mass communications. I became basically a videographer / producer.
Okay. And
I just secured a nice, 6-figure contract with one of the local governments, Wake County government. Mm-hmm. And I signed the contract on July 11th. July 13th, I was in a motorcycle accident that broke my foot, my femur, messed up my ribs, knocked out a tooth, jammed my wrist. And so my whole right side of my body was messed up. And so I spent the next year and a half I went through 3 surgeries, laid up. Everything that I've been saving was every month was going out the door. The time me and my wife, we had just separated, so I wasn't around my kids. So it was a bad time for me. And I was depressed for about a good year. And that's up to the extent of the accident. And that's kind of when the accident really changed my life.
And this is such a full description you just gave, because there's a lot in there. We're talking about you growing up in, what they will call special needs today, be it ADHD, ADD, and the list goes on, bipolar, what have you. Yeah. Not that you had all those things, but what I'm saying is that's how they classify these today. Back then when we were coming up, you ain't get that same kind of attention. The attention was different on how we were treated. So, that's a lot to overcome in itself. Being a young man, already having father-son issues. Like you said, you're the 8th child of your dad's, but the 1st child of your mom's. Yeah. In our age range, almost all of us can relate to a story somewhat like that. Not all of us, but quite a few of us. So you had to deal with that. But I want to tackle those other 2 issues. Let's talk about what got you to join the military. And who did you join? Where did you, what was your first unit, and why did you join?
I joined the National Guard first. I was actually a junior in high school when I joined the National Guard. Mm-hmm. And they had this program called the Split Option Program, meaning after my junior year, I would go to basic training, leave basic, come back, finish my senior year high school, then go to AIT after high school. So that's how I ended up doing the military thing. The reason I joined it was, well, just a disclaimer, I come from the dirt. My family never had money. We were living in, I didn't live in the projects, but I was in the street beside the projects, which means I stayed in the project. So I had cousins that were like gang leaders. I had, you know, and they were selling drugs. So as, you know, as a little kid, you know, it wasn't nothing for my cousin to be like, yo, come here, put this in my bag, go take this down the street to such and such and such. You know, I knew I was running, but that's what everybody did.
Right.
So it was like, it was nothing to me. And as I got older, it was my junior year football season. I just came back from basic training.
Mm-hmm.
I joined the National Guard because it seemed like some cool to do. My uncle used to always tell me, if you want to fight, fight for a reason. So I was like, if I join the military, at least I'll be fighting for a reason. Because I was in the streets hard with my family. So after I got out of basic training, we had just, I was back playing football. And it was one Friday night, we had just beat our like next county rival. Mm-hmm. And we were out celebrating, and we went by this spot called PD Quicks or Checkers and got burgers and fries and some milkshakes. And we were just standing on the block eating. And this van comes up, we call it the jump out van, where the police jump out and do raids and stuff. Mm-hmm. And we were joking that Henderson finally got one. And we was clowning this old truck that came by, then this other little beat up van that came by, and we were just clowning everything that came by, not realizing that it was a van right behind the last van, which was the jump out van. Mm. So them cats jumped out, man. Food all over the ground. They got the dogs. They got mobile drug units. They tested every pebble on the ground. And of course we were clean, but just the fact that my life would have changed had it been the week before. Mm. Had they called me last Friday night out there, my life would have changed. And so that's what the spot where I was like, I got to do something different. I got to do something different. So I graduate, I do about 6 months in National Guard, and I beg my commander to let me go active duty. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of how I ended up on active duty. I knew I had to get away. And I left home March 3rd, going to my new AIT, because I switched, I reclassed. March 18th, my aunt's house got raided and everybody went to jail. Wow. Everybody went to jail. So I knew, yeah, I can't go back to that. Can't go back to that.
Hmm. That's interesting, man, because I know, I mean, look, I can share that same story, you know, it was that era. It was that time, you know, if you came from a certain, you know, economic background where, you know, money wasn't plentiful and jobs wasn't plentiful and, you know, the level of education wasn't at a certain place to obtain certain careers. Yeah. Look, guess what? A lot of times, a lot of us as younger people, we got caught up in what was around us. And, you know, truth be told, man, like I'm listening to you and you're still kind of like, you're like, hey, I have no rhyme or reason. Like, it's by the grace of God, I didn't get caught. You know, it's by the grace of God that it was this week versus the other week. So what you're saying is, I like how you're telling the story because look, you're making this human for all of us. You know, look, I'm not perfect. I haven't been perfect all my life, but you know, my intentions was pure. I meant well. And you know, truth be told, what else could we ask for? We just ask for people to do better, you know, and you know, it seems like God gave you opportunities along the way to do better. So that's the military piece. So let's backtrack just a little bit more. Let's talk about how you overcame, because this is going to be good for people. How did you overcome certain things? Now, I didn't hear you say that you had a learning disability or anything of that nature, but I think in a lot of instances, if you have behavior issues, as it pertains to biting people in your instance, if you have behavior issues in a school system, it can affect your learning. You know, it can affect your relationships in a classroom, not just with the student body, but possibly even with the educators. So talk to us about that challenge. How did you, because obviously you graduated. How did you overcome that, man?
By the grace of God and me begging for a D.
I mean, so what did you do though, man? Like, when did you say, hey, look, okay, this is wrong. I need to step it up?
Honestly, I never did. It was like, I promise you, it's been certain points in my life where somebody came in and either mentored me or checked me, or some experience happened to make me kind of realize I was on the wrong path. For me, it started in kindergarten. I'm in kindergarten. Do you remember the old cartoon, Deputy Dog?
Of course.
Okay.
Him with Muskrat and all them other little funny little jokers. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm in kindergarten, and me and this cat named Greg. Greg was a white guy, and I knew Greg from, we were in Head Start together.
Okay.
So Greg knew I hated Deputy Dog. So we in class one day, and he just messing with me, kept calling me Deputy Dog, Deputy Dog. And I punched him in the stomach. Well, the teacher comes over, and she grabs me by my arm and snatches me from around Greg. Well, my hand comes up, and it contacts the side of her face really hard. Now, I could have controlled it probably,
okay,
but I was already heated.
Right,
so
right.
I punched a white boy in the stomach. Then I slapped my teacher. So they basically kicked me out of kindergarten and sent me to a school for kids with special needs. And I was there for probably about 4 months before the school year ended. So that's how I started with my, I don't know if you want to call it my ADHD issues, because my mom would never put me on Ritalin. She refused to. She just said I needed a butt whooping. That's not what she called it.
Yeah, old school.
So I was angry, and with all that combined, that's what set me off. And so I'm sitting in this school, and you literally have kids that wear helmets, kids that in recess to the plane, they look in the windows, kids that won't talk or can't talk, kids with like severe physical disabilities. And I'm just sitting there, and it's like me and 3 other guys, and we just sitting there looking around like, we don't belong here. We don't belong here. And so what do kids do when they feel like they don't belong? They act up. And then one day, man, this white guy named Mike, I don't know what Mike looked like to this day. I don't know his last name, but he came in the room one day and was like, hey, you, do I know you? And I'm like, nah, you don't know me, bro. I don't know you. He was like, come on, let's go outside. I want to talk to you. And I didn't want to go at first, but all the other guys wanted. So I was like, well, if they want to, I must go. So I went, and every day he would walk me around that playground and just talk about life, to ask me where I came from and everything, but I wouldn't tell him anything. So he started talking about where he was from, his experience in life, where his dream house, where he wanted to live. And it made me really open up. And so now he started telling me, you know, you can have whatever you want. You can be whatever you want. You just got to be willing to work for it. You can't let nobody give you a label. Nobody give you any excuses. If you want it, you got to go get it. And so I changed probably in that 4-month period. I changed so much that they actually sent me back to my regular school. And Mike, he packed up and left probably maybe a month before I went to school, went back to my regular school. And to this day, I thank God for him, because he was the lone voice that made me believe I could be more. I could have more. And I wasn't this little bad kid everybody was claiming that I was. Even though I did the things, but he helped me see myself differently. And so that's kind of how my journey began. And then you fast forward about 4 years, I'm in 3rd grade, and I flunked 3rd grade. And I didn't flunk it because I couldn't do the work. I flunked it because I refused to do the work. And I would talk junk, talk back to the teachers. I was in ISS every day. And so they flunked me. And I never forget how embarrassed I felt. And when my classmates would walk through the hallways, my former classmates would walk through the hallways, I would turn my face to the wall. And it was just like, I knew they could see me, but I just couldn't look them in the face. And so, because I had this shame on me. I already felt like I wasn't loved at home. The only thing I had was my little reputation. And now I done flunked, so now I feel like I'm stupid.
Now, outside of Mike, far as in the home, Now, I know you mentioned something about your dad, but who in the home was supporting you? You know, mom, dad, like brothers, sisters, and like who?
Well, like I said, my dad was married once before he married my mom, and they had 5 kids. He divorced her. He had another baby by another lady in the same town we were in. And then, he had another baby before he married the first lady. And so by the time I came along, my dad he really wasn't feeling no more kids. So he wasn't really, crazy story, but my mom's sister and my dad's sister were best friends. And neither one of them liked my mom. So they told my dad this story about her sleeping with some other guy, and that guy was my dad. So my dad really didn't claim me for probably the first 10, 12 years of my life, even though we lived in the same house. And so as far as support, man, my mom, she regretted me. So I didn't get a lot of love from her. And so my little sister was 5 years younger than me. My little brother is 7 years younger than me. So I was always if anybody had a stressful day, I was the relief. So I got a lot of physical abuse from my dad. I got a lot of mental abuse from my mom. Interesting story. Me and my sister was in the back seat of the car one day. I was probably 10. So that made my sister about 5. And so she's poking me and messing with me in the back seat. And so I pop her on the leg. And of course, like what little sisters do, she screamed like I killed her. Well, my mom slams on brakes in the middle of the street, put her arm over that we had an old Buick with the bench seats.
Yes, sir.
She put her arm on the back of that seat and looked me dead in my face and said, when you grow up, you're going to beat your wife, and I hope she kill you. Now, this is my mom telling me this. At the time, it didn't really resonate. It hurt my feelings, but it didn't resonate with me until I got into my first domestic dispute with a female. Then all that emotion stuff came back. But I go there to say my mom wasn't really supportive because she had been abused by every man in her life. She was molested by a brother. My grandfather was in jail for molestation. So there's so many issues, man. My mom loved me, but how do you love a person that looks just like the enemy? She couldn't really love me the way she really wanted to. So it took a long time for us to reconcile. Now my mom we good now. Mom is like, she get that call every day. When once upon a time I went talk to her for about 6 months. But now, every day we talk. My dad, we even cool now. It's about reconciliation, and I don't want to take this space to a low place, but this is really the life that I've lived, and I've had every reason to make every excuse. But whenever I got down, I either found somebody or somebody found me, and they picked me up. And sometimes I did have to pick myself up. But when it come down to it, man, life isn't always fair. You play the hand you dealt, and you play it to the best of your ability. And that's what I've been doing. And because I keep asking myself this, why was I the one that was spared? Why did my homeboy die? Why did this guy get locked up? Why did this guy lose a kid? Why did this chick end up in a bad relationship and get her brains beat out? Why was I the one who I didn't skate through, but I always just missed life-changing consequences by that much? And it wasn't until I had my accident that I realized, you know what? I'm playing with house money right now. I'm supposed to be. The doctor even told me, he said that the type of accident you were in, most guys don't walk away from that. He was like, I don't know why you still here, but you need to figure it out. And this was the doctor. Don't even know. This is another guy somewhere along the line just speaking something into my life. Mm-hmm. And I go back to when I was a kid, man. I used to love going to church.
Okay.
And I used to love how the preacher would get up there and he would speak. And I saw how he was respecting. I saw how the lives that they would change and help. And I said, man, when I grow up, I want to be a preacher or I want to be a garbage man. Now,
okay.
Now my uncle was a sanitation worker in New
that's
York.
a weird dichotomy.
Yeah.
That's way on both ends. A
Yeah.
preacher
Or a garbage man.
or a trash collector.
Yeah.
Either one, I'm good.
And reason being, man, my uncle was a sanitation worker for New York City, right?
Okay.
But they were unionized.
Yes, sir.
So my uncle was making in the 80s, he was making $40,000-$50,000 a year in the 80s, picking up trash. And so whenever he would come home, he had the Cadillac, he had the gold chains. And I was like, oh, what you do? He was like, I pick up trash for a living. So I'm like, shoot, I can take out the trash. Don't take no special skills for that. So that's why I wanted to be either one of the two. Those are my role models. The pastor on the corner, Reverend Burnett, and my uncle James.
Hey, either way, I can take your trash out or I can read you a scripture. I got you covered. That's what's up, man. Hey, but look, all right, so, look, no, man, you're not taking it in a low place, brother, because we need to hear stuff like this, especially coming from other men. And you're going to see why later on in this interview. Because if we admit it, look, man, this is priceless. You know how much it takes for another man that hasn't overcome certain things in their life to vent out what you're saying? Man, it's like, imagine your dad, my grandfather, your grandfather.
Yeah.
Men back then didn't talk like this.
Nah, not
Man,
at all.
you would have to take a crowbar and try to part their lips apart. They wasn't gonna talk like this. Most of that stuff went. Go ahead.
What happens in this house stays in this house.
Yes, sir. And what happens in their life stayed in their life. Most of it went to the grave with them. Trust me, bro. I know. How long? You say your dad really didn't start accepting you till you were like around 10 or a little later?
Yeah, about 10, 12. When I started playing sports.
Okay. So, and then the behavior of your mom towards you, did that start changing around that time, around sports time, or did that last longer?
Yeah, my mom actually got worse. Because if you think about it, my mom was 15 when she met my dad. My dad was 24. My mom was 15. So my grandfather was in jail. My mom was the baby of 8 kids herself. And by baby, she's like 10 years younger than the next closest. So, and my grandmother was a bootlegger. So she was never really at home. So my mom basically was raised by the community. And when she met my dad raised her. And so he raised her abusively. Mm-hmm. So by the time she's now 27, 28, she's starting to think for herself, and she realized she in a bad situation. But now she got 3 kids by this joker. So she gonna hang in there for us. And so now she's getting bitter and more bitter by the day. She's oppressed because my dad won't let her do anything because my mom had this spirit that she always wanted more. My dad was so insecure because he never finished high school. He could barely read early on. So he was really dominating, really controlling, and nobody could do anything right unless it was his idea or he did it. So he really oppressed the whole house. So my mom, she wasn't really an ally for me as we got older. Now she would protect me from my dad's family who didn't care, who thought I was being put off on him. She protected me from them when I was younger, but after about 8, 9, me and my mom completely got disconnected. Living in the same house.
Man, so and you say that, it seems as if God always he channeled somebody your way to be able to give you wise counsel, to give you encouragement. And we talked about Mike. Who else?
Yes.
What other influential people who else crossed your path at a young age? And let's move up into your 20s now. Like, who else was key in your life?
I got to go back to a lady named Charlotte. Charlotte was I got a job as a dishwasher at a local country club. And one night they were having this huge wedding party, and they had about maybe 5 to 7 temps supposed to come through to help clean up and serve. but only 2 temps showed up. So you got 500 a person party, and then you only got 5 people to serve it. So I ended up going home, grabbing my little white shirt and black pants, and they gave me a bow tie and cummerbund. And she said, all I need you to do is refill tea, water, coffee, whatever they need, and just clear plates. I need you to carry, she basically needed the muscle. I need you to carry heavy plates to the table and clear tables and then refill drinks. Can you handle that? I was like, yes, ma'am. Now, as a dishwasher, during that time, minimum wage was only like $6, about $6, like $6.20, $6.50, something like that. And I said, well, how much will I get paid? She said, you get $2.21. I was like, plus tips? She said, no, we don't do tips here. It's plus 15%. And so, no, I'm at the time now, I'm not 20, but I'm like 18. And being on the streets, you know, percentage is pretty good. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, 15% of all of this? She said, yeah. I said, split between us? She said, yep. I don't know exactly what they're going to look like, but it's more than $6 an hour. So yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
And so I'm out there and I'm refilling drinks and I'm taking people's plates off the table. And of course now, this small town was a really prejudiced town once upon a time. And at the country club, there are a lot of old money there. A lot of old money. So I get to this one table and I say, excuse me, ma'am, would you like some more tea? She looks at me, grabs her purse off the floor, put it in her lap, and then turn her head like she ain't really got nothing to say to me. And I'm just looking like, I kind of got offended for a second. And then I caught all the men at the table. They were giving me this hard, like white nationalist look. Mm-hmm. And that was the first time that I experienced racism that in my face. Then the guy tells me, you can go ahead on, boy. Wow. And so everything in me was just like, I got numb and I didn't know if I wanted to fight, cuss, throw drinks on him and cuss him out. I didn't know what to do. So I just turned around and I kind of walked back. But Charlotte saw the whole thing. So as I put my drinks down, I realized my hands are shaking because I don't know what I'm feeling right now. She looks at me. She called me Jay. She said, Jay, turn around. I turn around. She looked me dead in my face. She straightened my bow tie up and she fixed my little cummerbund. And she looked at me and she said, I want you to go in the bathroom. I want you to get yourself together. Don't let these people see that you got to them. Then I want you to come back. I want you to go back, skip that table, and go serve every other table. Show them that you're better than them. Show them that you are not afraid of them. You are an amazing person. I believe in you, and I believe you're going to be able to do this. Now go and get yourself together. So I went to the bathroom, and I'm in a like, you remember Cuba Gooding and Boys in the Hood? When he was in the living room air punching.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was in the bathroom punching all of them in the face in my mind. Then I got myself together and I went back out there. And mind you, this was only my first week there. So my first week is not being good anyway. So I go back out and it took me about maybe 10 minutes to kind of really get myself together. But at the end of that night, I felt different. I felt like I did accomplish something. And I was there probably for my senior year in high school, and even after I graduated, until I actually went to the Army. And they were like, hey, if you decide not to go to the Army, we'll make you a manager. And I'm like, wow, I done came a long way. But I want to do more than just be a manager in a small town. I want to get away.
Right.
So right. Charlotte was the one who, she helped me with the race thing. Mm-hmm. She gave me confidence in myself way more than I think anybody had ever in that point. Because she came in a point where I was hurt, I was confused, I was angry, and she helped me control that. So she was the second person.
That's huge, man. I like stuff like that. There's always there's heroes out there, man. There's yeah. A diamond in the rough, if you will, or they saw a diamond in the rough in you, and yeah. They there's people who want to give back. With that being said, let you and I have a little dialogue real quick, as if we haven't been doing that, but because I just want to give I want to present something. Now, earlier you said uh life, either you said life sure isn't fair or life sometimes isn't fair. One of the
Yeah.
two.
Yeah.
Then you said, something else, but you said that. I know, right? Come on, Rock, do better.
I've said a lot.
Right. But I say this. This is my saying. I
Okay.
say life is fair, people aren't. And let me explain.
Okay.
I'm to the belief, like, and especially Christians, Christians love saying this, or any other person of any type of spiritual belief. Things happen for a reason.
Happen for a reason, yeah.
See, we will run that one in the dirt until we get treated wrong. See, when we get treated wrong, we don't like saying things happen for a reason. Nah. But I'm like, we can't have it both ways now. If things happen for a reason, and God is the author and the finisher of our faith, okay? Yeah. If God is omnipresent and omnipotent,
okay, preacher.
I'm just saying now. So the things we've gone through, because my point would be this: what you've gone through, that's why you're Jamon Glover Speaks. The things I've gone through, this is why I'm SPEAKROC. I believe that wholeheartedly, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
What occurred in your life could have occurred to anybody.
Yep. Probably
could have occurred to anybody. So therefore, in my view, life is fair. But the people who did what they did to you, did they do it to other people? Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But even you said, even the example with you and your sister in the back seat, she could have, your mom, excuse me, your mom could have turned around and said, hey, both of y'all stop playing.
Yeah.
But she had words for you. See, fair would have been both of y'all making noise.
Yeah.
And y'all need to stop. But she chose, predicated upon her life, what she's going through, to release on you. See, so that makes the person unfair.
Yeah.
Regardless if the intentions are with malice, regardless if the intentions are done out of just ignorance, and ignorance is just not knowing. That's not like she was a stupid woman, not saying that. It's just called not knowing. Indirectly, she's lashing out. She may not even known the ramifications of what she was really saying or doing. So my point is, doesn't matter if it's directly or indirectly, it's unfair.
Yeah.
Life didn't deal you that blow, because it's the same blow that could have happened to anybody else. So I'm not taking the validity out what you're saying, because I think you can make a case and say, well, this is how life isn't fair. But I like to, I'm the kind of person, I like to stand on, put it like this, I've matured to this point in my life. I'm not saying everybody got to be like me, because I got issues. Just, I said it first. You heard it here. But I have learned, I've learned to callous myself over the years. And I believe, or I've accepted everything that's ever occurred to me. I've accepted every bit of it, because that's why I am the guy I am today. I've endured it. I survived it. I'll use your word. I'm thriving from it. I'm so much better. This ain't my interview, so I'm not gonna go into it. So, but I guess what I'm saying is, I'm on team you, dog. I'm on your team. So everything that happened to you, because everybody can't do this. Everybody can't relive and talk about their past. So that leads me, I'm gonna segue into this, and I hope I'm not doing wrong by you by not giving you time to respond after I just went on my diatribe. But
it's all good.
But I want to continue to push you forward, and I want to talk about being that you're a coach, being that you're a mentor, because we just touched on some things, how people influenced you and encouraged you. What I want to know from you, being that you're a coach, you're a mentor, you're an author, you're a motivational speaker, you're a dad, you know, all these things. At what point in your young life did you see, man, I got some substance to me. I have some value to me. Like, I have something to offer. When? When was the first time you noticed it?
Oh man, that's
I must have asked a good question, because that tickled the funny bone right there.
yeah, man.
Because you had to. At some point, you was, I mean, bruh, look, you speak, you got speaking engagements going on. You know, look, man, this is when I saw the book, I was like, man, this is a quality book. Like, I ain't even opened it up yet. And I was like, this is nice. You doing things at a high level, man. And when people see your website, everything you do that I've seen thus far, man, you are operating at a quality level. So I just want to know, when did you know you had stuff like this in you? And when did you say, you know what, I'm going to share? Now, it can be a military experience. It can be some leadership. It can be in football. I don't know when. Tell me your life, bro.
It's been a couple of points in my life, because I was always more of the rebellious type. So I did things sometimes because somebody either said I couldn't, or somebody doubted me, or I was just trying to prove a point. It wasn't until, and this has probably happened in basic training. I was in basic training. You know how it is when you go there and you got all these new men, 18, 20-year-old guys walking around with their chest poked out, you know, telling about how good they were in high school and the things they did, and they got all these gifts and talents, and I've always been a fighter, and just something a lot of people don't know about me. I am about 5'5" when it's hot. I'm like 5'3" when it's cold.
You ain't by yourself, man. I'm about 5'6". That's in my shoes, so don't worry about it.
And so the first inkling for me was my freshman year of high school. Actually, not even my freshman year of high school. My 8th grade summer going into my freshman year of high school. I didn't know how many freshmen would make the varsity squad, but I wanted to be one of them. And so everybody was telling me, oh, you too short, you ain't played long enough, you're not good enough, you're not fast enough. And so I went into the gym with this guy named Rob. They call him Hard Rob, because this guy would lift the gym. I mean, he'd throw 8 plates on each side and wouldn't hurt himself. I mean, the guy was ridiculous. And I was like, Rob, I'm exaggerating about the 8 plates, by the way.
Yeah, I know. But go ahead. He was okay on roids if he was doing 8 plates.
Exactly.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I started out lifting the bar plus the 245s, and I was struggling with them. So this was in May. By August, I was benching 275. Mm-hmm. By August. Now, I'm a entering freshman benching 275. I'm 5'4" tall, and I'm trying to make the varsity squad. Go through all of the preseason, all the training, and I make the varsity squad. Only freshman to do it in my high school in probably years. And nobody really done it after that either, unless you were a pure stud. And I wasn't a pure stud. I just want to let you outwork me. Mm-hmm. Every play, I ain't give up. My motor wouldn't stop. So that was the first inkling. And then I became to be the captain of the team my junior year, and wrestling was the same way. I just took to it really good. I was really athletic, and I didn't even realize it. But it wasn't until I got to basic training, and all the drill sergeants, they got all the 6'2" guys, and they were the platoon squad leaders, and there was the guides, and we had this spurt where we went to the field, and we had a ruck march that was probably, I want to say, about 6 miles. It really wasn't not even that long. But when you're in full gear and you're doing it for the first time, it's a lot. And we did range, that long ruck. We built back everything we was going on. And guys were just falling out left and right. They would break it down left and right. Then my drill sergeant was like, Glover, yo, you got all the mouth. Come on, you take over now. And yo, I took over and I ran it. And I was my company's platoon person, platoon leader for the remainder of basic training. And so that kind of showed me that I have something. I don't know what it is yet, but I got something that people recognize. And so I floundered for a few years because I'm young. I'm 21, 22, 23. I'm making decent money. Got my daughter's born, so I'm a dad now. So I got off-base housing, and I got the gift of gab because I'm able to spit game on a crazy level. And it was ridiculous, you know, the number of phone numbers and girlfriends I ran through for that period of time.
So, where were you stationed at on active duty? Where was your first duty station?
Camp Wanju, Camp Eagle, Korea. That was my first duty station.
Oh my God, ridiculous.
Yeah.
First term, we should never get stationed overseas. Never.
Nah, I stayed between Camp Humphreys, Osan, and Pusan. Not Pusan, Seoul.
Yeah.
Yongsan.
Yeah,
no. So I blew a lot of money.
Yeah. If it was up to me, young guys would never go overseas first. Not first. You can't go first. No.
Not day first. Yeah, man. Korea I didn't like it the first couple of months. But once I just gave in and accepted it, I didn't want to leave when it was time to leave.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Then where did you end up after that?
After Korea, I ended up at Bragg. I was at Bragg. I was COSCOM, Simmons Airfield. I was aviation.
Yep.
My first was I was a 71 Lima admin. When I went active duty, I reclassed and became I worked on the nav systems, radio systems for the Apaches, the Blackhawks, and the Chinooks.
Okay.
Yeah. And after there, I went to because I did my AIT at Fort Gordon, which is Augusta.
Yep.
Then when I left Bragg, I went to Alaska. I was at Fort Wainwright.
Ooh, how was that?
Yeah. I loved it, man. It's like if it wasn't so far away, I'd probably still be there. Alaska's a beautiful place. Not to mention the dividend, the oil dividend. When I was there, bruh, every October, $2,000 per person in your household. I thank you just for living there. Yep.
Wow.
$2,000 per person. Me and my wife, we had 3 kids. So so it was 5 of us, so we could knock in a $10,000 check every October. That was non-taxable.
Oh yeah.
Income tax roll around, that was a good time. Dividend time roll around, that was a good time. I had base housing, didn't have to pay no rent. Man, money was good. Life was good.
Wow. And how long did you stay in for?
I only did 7 years.
Why you get out?
I had a couple injuries that was really messing with me.
Okay.
I had to end up getting my ankle reconstructed.
Ooh.
So I made the decision. I was going to re-enlist, but I got out March of 2001. And then I tried to go back in after 9/11, but they wouldn't let me go back in.
You got pins and stuff like that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm still surprised after 9/11 they was kind of taking anybody. They could have gave you a waiver, man.
Something.
They could have gave you a waiver. I'm joking.
I mean, just let me go back and do my old job. I mean, I'm doing fixing radio systems and nav gear.
Right.
No, but hey.
Put you right back there in Bragg. Woo.
Yeah. I love Bragg when I was there.
Bruh, but I'm gonna tell you something, because I was stationed at Bragg. I was at Bragg when you was out. So we just missed each other.
Okay.
But you already know Bragg. Bragg is high op tempo, man. Like, so I guess what I'm saying to you is, after 9/11, dude, it's probably a blessing you didn't. I mean, I don't know. It depends on how you took it. You would never been home. You would have never been home.
Yeah.
They was doing they was doing over a year. At first, they went to a year deployments. Then they started going a year and a half.
Wow.
Then you have a year turnaround, train up, and you going again. So it wasn't an issue if you was gonna go downrange.
You just win, huh?
It was just win. So that was even aviation.
Yeah, I had plans. I had a couple partners that did 3 terms. Or did 3 tours. Yeah.
Yeah, man. People right now don't know what we're talking about unless they veterans.
Nah,
So let's go ahead and get back on this mentoring thing. So now you've expressed to me and explained to us how you knew you had some leadership in you.
Yeah.
But I want to push you a little bit more. I'm talking about the other things. I'm talking about the coaching, the ability to speak. Yeah. Watch this. The fact that you know other people need to be mentored. And watch this. Taking all that what you've been through. How does somebody who's been through what you've been through, a father and a mother who you could possibly agree that could have done better by you, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Going through certain turmoil and certain torment, because I'm gonna call it what it is. On a young person, on a young mind, and a young heart, that's torment. That's you carried something. You were probably quiet on a lot of things. You probably suffered and just held on to a lot of things because you're a young person. You don't know how to express.
Yep.
That's strain on a young person. How does someone who goes through that says, you know what, I can mentor some people. I can do people better than how I was done. Now, and I'm gonna push you a little bit more. This might get a little personal, but you said it. You became a father. In your 20s?
I was
in your early 20s?
I just turned 21.
Okay. So just turned 21. You're in the military, right?
Yep. I was in Korea in the field.
Yeah. So, like, come on, man, walk me through this. Like, how did you know you had something to offer in the aspect of speaking to people so they can learn from you, and then you want to mentor them? When did this come about?
All right, so this is where it comes full circle for me. I was in Korea when my daughter was born. And I tried to get back, but my commander, he wouldn't. They had some big thing coming up, and he didn't want his numbers to be down. So he wouldn't let me come up with my daughter's birth. So in that moment, life kind of started coming into focus a little bit more. Your first kid, that's kind of gives you purpose, gives you reason to live and to stop being reckless or wilding out. But it wasn't until I had my first son. I was probably 26. And my son was about three years old, almost 4. And I just gotten off work. I'm living in Montgomery, Alabama at the time. And you know those days when it's just hot and your AC don't work in your car and you're miserable? Okay. It was that kind of day. It was probably 102 degrees outside, 110 in the shade. And I was driving this Nissan Altima and with leather seats, and my AC had just went out. So I'm sitting in traffic. I'm sweating. My whole backside wet because the leather making me sweat. So when I get up, I'm dry on the front side, but I'm wet on the backside.
Right.
And so I'm knocking on my neighbor's door because my wife had just left going to work. Oh, excuse me.
Bless you, sir.
My wife had just left going to work. So she said, you need to pick up Junior from the neighbor. So I knock on the door. My son sees me, instantly burst into tears. He's falling out on the floor. He don't want to go. And I'm like, boy, we ain't got time for this. Come on. You can come back and play with Kim later. When I go to pick him up, he screams out, I don't want you to be my daddy. I want him to be my daddy. And point at the neighbor. And that my first reaction was I was angry. So I snatched him off the floor and I looked at the neighbor with this little mean look. And I went home and I slammed the door. And I'm walking around like, man, I'm here every day. I provide, I'm doing everything a man's supposed to do. And this little fool acting like a clown. I don't want you to be my dad. I got real offended by it. Then it hit me. He's 3. He ain't lying. He ain't making up nothing. He ain't in his feelings. He just left a household where this man was a good daddy. He was more than just a provider, because all I was provider and a disciplinarian, because that's all my dad was. The lessons I learned from my father, I was teaching my kids. Now, I have 2 daughters before him, and my daughters, they're my daughters. They went with the flow, you know, daddy's girl, you know, I wasn't too tough on them. My son, I was a little bit tougher. But that was the point that really changed me, because I always said I would never be my dad. And I was so busy trying not to be him that I came all the way around another way and still became him. So that's when I started seeking out mentors, other fathers, and I wouldn't ask them questions, I would just watch them and see how they played with their kids, how they hugged their kids, how they parented. And I realized I wasn't a nurturer. My mom didn't nurture me. My dad definitely didn't nurture me. So I never learned that skill. And so it took me a few years of reading, learning, getting around other people, asking a few questions here and there to almost start putting it together. But it wasn't until my motorcycle accident that all that came together for me. What happened is I couldn't go and do my profession because I couldn't stand up long to do it. So my daughter's mom, my oldest daughter, was by my wife. So she called me, she worked for this nonprofit, and she said they want to start a fatherhood program, but they don't have anybody to teach it. She was like, would you be open to teach it? I mean, it'll give you something to do and put money in your pocket while you still healing. So first I was like, man, I can't teach no dudes nothing. I'm jacked up. What am I gonna tell these dudes? And she was like, look, man, they got a curriculum. All you gotta do is just read and tell them what the book say. And I'm like, I do need the bread. So, all right, let me try it.
Tell them what the book say, huh?
Basically, just tell them what the book say. And I'm just like, all right.
All right.
And then my first class, I fell in love with it, because it was that point that I realized everything, every hurt, every experience that I had was for that moment. Wow. I had only 12 guys in that first class. Let's see. 12 guys in that first class. And by the third lesson, it was a 12-week course. By the third week, those guys were opened up to me, sharing their trauma, their stories, and actual healing was starting to take place. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, I think I like this. And so you fast forward, the program lasts about 3 years. In 3 years, guys who came to that program because they weren't paying child support, guys who came to that program because they had domestic violence issues, or they had some other kind of court issues, or their kid was in foster care, all those guys got custody of their kids, got them back. They didn't go back to court for anything. And to this day, when one sees me, it's like ultimate respect. They pull over their car, they stop, they want to talk for hours. I'm like, bro, I love you, but I got to move, man. I got to make moves. Yeah. And, hey, man, let me get your number and call you. Change your number. Now my number's still the same. And they blow me up. That was the moment I realized everything that I went through was to get me here. Every bad experience, every negative word, every self-destructive thought or habit that I had, it made me able to relate to all these men who was hurting and struggling, because nobody understood them, because nobody was honest with them that they had flaws too. And so my classes became a safe place for these guys to come. It was non-judgmental. It was confidential. You know, what happens in our class, you know, we can discuss it. We can find solutions. And that's what it was all about, finding solutions. And so when I saw these guys leave and then go back and now they have these productive homes when their girlfriends start stopping you and say, I don't know what you said to my man, but thank you. I knew then I'm okay at this. So that kind of gave me the desire to want to speak. Because if I can change, because I had probably 60 guys over about maybe a 3-year period. How can I reach more people? How can I tell my story? How can I help people change their lives just through my story? Well, I tried speaking, but I sucked as a speaker, I thought. So I was listening to, when I was laid up, I listened to a guy named Les Brown. And he was talking about this group called Toastmasters. And so I started looking up Toastmasters groups. And I called one club, nobody called me back. I called another club, nobody called me back. I finally I decided after maybe 2 months later to call a third club. Excuse me. And when I did, nobody called me for like a day or two. But then my phone rang and I connected with the guy and I went in, just kind of evaluated the meeting and see what it was all about. And I went from inside of 2 years, no, not even 2 years, inside of a year, I went from not being able to put a story together to being an award-winning speaker. And this was probably over an 8-9 month period. Now, learning how to speak is different than just talking about, like we do right now. We just talking and we're going through certain things, but to stand in front of a crowd, hundreds of people, and being able to captivate that room, that has to be honed. And so after I learned how to speak, then they started teaching me how to capture a room. And that really was my transition into being just a guy who's telling what the book say to a guy that's actually helping transform lives. I know that was a lot. I hope I answered your question.
No, man, I'm listening. You got me captivated because I'm not gonna lie to you, man. When you told me that your son was like, I want him to be my daddy, I was sitting there, dude, I thought you was about to go somewhere else with that story. Because if you would have told me mommy is with this man and I was waiting. So you had me captivated. I was like, oh my God, this is about to turn into a horror story real quick.
Yes. And after I got out of jail.
I know, right? Oh my God. Yeah. So yeah, I was listening. No, bro, look, man, this is wonderful. And I like that, man, because a lot of times opportunities come to us just like that. And what it sounds like to me is you capitalized on an opportunity and you took it to heart. And not only did you make it profitable for yourself, you made it profitable for those people. Excuse me, not just the men, as you said, their wives, their significant others, or whatever the case may be. You help these people, man. And once again, I'm just a believer. God is just saying, hey, I know this ain't go right in your life, but you know what? I let that be that way so you can be sensitive to what's going on here. I groomed you the whole way through and I prepared you. Now, matter of fact, here goes something, deal with it. And you dealt with it the best way you can, man. So, hey, salute to you, man. That's huge. Now, so we talked about the speaking. We talked about leadership. From the military side, football, military. We talked about speaking. Really didn't, mentoring a little bit through the fatherhood program. But part of the question, I still want to hear from you, because when I went to your website, you got the classic, elevator pitch. Who am I? Why it's important? Why you need to know, that kind of thing. Elevator pitch, to me, in my opinion, exudes confidence. Because if you got your elevator pitch down and you hitting it, you confident about it, and you hey, this is what you need to know about me. This is who I am. This is what I do, and this is why it's important to you. And if you don't get it right now, it's gonna be your loss, not mine. So what I want to know from you is, Where's this confidence coming from, man? You still, is it coming from the people that was in your life that encouraged you? Or is there something else deeper? Like, what is your driving force really? Like, seriously, man, like at the end of the day, like I'll just, for me, I'm like, if it wasn't for God, I'd be nothing, man. And I stand on that all day, every day. I don't care who say what. I love everybody.
Yeah.
And I love you so much, I let you believe what you want to believe. If it's Confucius for you, fine, that's for you. If it's Frosty the Snowman, that's for you. If it's two particles colliding with each other and then there's the Big Bang Theory, I don't care what it is you do. I'm never going to change my mind, and it's going to be God for me. So that's my driving, that's my inner, that's what keeps me going.
Yeah.
What is it for you, man? And it just don't have to be just the simple answer of God, but it can be God in a moment in life. It can be God and I was heating up, beans and franks on a freaking kerosene stove, and I don't ever want to go through that ever again. So what is it that's the driving force that makes you say that a young man from a certain type of abuse battled through behavior and educational issues, a young man that dealt with family issues? What was it that took you from there, brought you to becoming aware of yourself as a leader, and is propelling you to be what you are today? Because I believe this is real important to know, because the people who are going to reach out to you, I believe they're going to want to know really what you got. Like, what is it that he got that I'm missing? So talk to us, man.
Well, for me, quite honestly, I didn't really believe I was anything special.
Okay.
Because I'm really aware of where I come from. I never really believed in myself to a high level. But what I found out was, just like my daughter's mom, when she called me, she knew I could do that job and do it very well because she believed in me. Charlotte, Mike, my drill sergeant. I ain't tell you that story. He was a real big catalyst in making me, I won't say fake the confidence,
okay,
but you can't show fear if you in the jungle, you know what I mean? And so coming from the streets, I already knew that, but I was watching guys around me crumble, and I watched how he treated them. And so I ended up going, I went toe to toe with him one day. I was scared out of my mind. But he was looking at me like, okay, all right. And then we had some offline conversations. And from basic training all the way through my son saying that he don't want me to be his dad, I had so many experiences where I either helped somebody reach their light, their goal, whatever they were trying to do, help somebody get through a bad situation, been a spark for somebody to try something new, life change. Remember earlier I kept asking God, why am I still here?
Yeah.
Why am I the one who made it and this guy didn't and that person didn't? Mm-hmm. Now I'm helping all these people, and I feel like it's my duty. I'm supposed to help these people. And it wasn't until the motorcycle accident that all that stuff came together and said, you playing with house money. Your life really ain't your life. Your kids are watching you like you watched your dad. The community is watching you because apparently people see something in you that you don't see in yourself. You are a standard bearer. And so as I'm thinking these thoughts, I'm feeling this weight come on me like, That's a lot of responsibility. I don't know if I want that. I don't know if I want that. And then it wasn't until the fatherhood program that I realized all the suffering, all the pain, all that, kind of what you just said, all that was to get me here. Now my life begins. I was in training before. So what gave me confidence is I made it. I didn't die. I didn't quit. They tried to kill me, but they couldn't. People tried to assassinate my character at different places in my life. People tried to get me fired from jobs, and I almost sabotaged myself quite a few times, but I'm still standing. I done been through divorce and heartache, and I'm still here. Stories matter. And all I gotta do is tell my story. That's it. I can do that. I can do it. And so anybody who's listening right now, I don't care what you've been through. I don't care what you've had to endure, see, witness, experience. It all truly does work together for your good if you use it for your good. The reason bad stuff happens in families because nobody talks about it. What happens? We don't talk about such things. No, we need to talk about it. We need to, because that's how healing begins. That's how I was able to go back and I ain't gonna tell that story, but that's how I was able to go back and reconcile with my father, who I was gonna kill one day.
No, we're gonna have to get to that story at one point, man. We're gonna have to get to that story.
But I was able to go back and we cried together. This is a man I've never seen him have a weak moment. He was always on my back, about everything. I couldn't do anything right. But now I go back and I'm able to reform that relationship.
See,
I'm able to go back.
I love where you at, because this is something that was on my mind that I said I was going to ask, because I want your expertise in this area. This is something I was going to ask you, and you're segueing into that for me. Thank you for that. And my question is this. Kind of statement first, then a question.
Okay.
I've visualized and I'm experiencing that, and I'm going to say a pretty bold statement, and this is my platform. I can do that.
Yes, sir.
That I believe that we, especially as African-American men, we have daddy issues.
Yeah, we do.
We have walls, and we have a lot of hurt that we're still dealing with.
Yep.
I believe we are very defensive towards one another. I'm talking about men now.
Oh yeah.
Black men, brothers. Okay. We're very defensive towards one another. We're very standoffish. And I believe, we talk a good game. We talk a real good game about how brothers need to come together and how we need to, stick together, and we need to, man up, and we talk a good game. And it seems to me the only time that really worked is like when you got some church brothers, you got some brothers that's in a frat, or they part of some freaking Elk Lodge or something, or the Masons or something, or you got to be part of some type of fraternity or organization for that kind of brotherhood to really ring true.
Yeah.
And then if you're not part of an organization or something, then it's just whoever cool with you. Like whoever your boys. Like if these are your boys, that's who you kind of let your hair down with. And these are the people you mess with. Now, I'm not telling you what I think. I'm telling you what I know. Because trust me, I'm in these streets. I'm talking to people. And a lot of time, that's why I started one of my movements called Be a Brother, Speak to Another. Because I got tired of walking up to a black man and he looking at me like I'm about to do something to him.
Sizing you up, huh?
Yeah. So, and I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to leave it because I'm going to want your input. I just got tired of dealing with trying to peel back the layers off of brothers.
Yeah.
I got tired of trying to justify myself that I'm no threat to you. Because I had to tell most brothers I come to, I'm like, bro, I don't want nothing. I have to start my conversation off like that. Bro, I don't want nothing from you. Not a thing. I got my own money. I got my own wife and kids. I got my own crib. I got more than one car. Like, I'm not, I don't want nothing from you.
Yep.
And if I want anything from you, I just want to converse. I just want to put minds together. That's it. But every brother I've come towards, they act as if, I don't know if my baseball cap turned to the back. I don't know if because I'm the size of an 18-year-old boy. I don't know what it is. They act as if like I'm about to do something to them. And I said, you know what? We got issues that we don't want to admit. Once again, we got daddy issues and we got a lot of hurt. My question to you, sir, what do you say to men that got daddy issues? What do you say to men that still harboring hurt and pain, and we're shutting out every brother that we come in contact with? Oh, and please, I'm sorry. Let me say this one other thing, because I'll be remiss if I don't say it, because I got to keep it funky. In my opinion, I think a lot of the reasons why we suffer with having daddy issues and we're so standoffish towards one another is because we grew up in a mess of what a man is supposed to be. Now, let me spell it out. If our dad was around, he was probably a pimp. He was probably a whoremonger. Can I be clear?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
He was probably abusive in the family. So this was our example. Then if you had uncles around, majority of your uncles probably was just like your dad. And when guess what? He also got a nasty, freaky side where he is molesting parts of the family. So these are the examples we see. So now that's the family.
Yeah.
What about the other male figures in our life? Pimps on the street, winos, crackheads. I think I'm telling too much of my story right now.
Drug dealers. You right. Go ahead.
Drug dealers. Oh, and watch this. Some of these people are the people we call friends.
Yep.
Now watch this. Even with your own friend trying to do you in. Gonna rob from you, gonna steal from you, gonna take your girl. So maybe the environment we came in and these men that we were surrounded with while we were growing up, from our adolescent years, even to our adult years in our 20s, we always on guard, always looking over our shoulder. Yeah. So now you in your 30s, 40s, 50s, I'm even gonna say 60s. You still looking at another black man like, what you want from me? What's your angle? Do you understand what I'm saying? So I'm sorry for going on such a long tirade about that, but I had to paint a picture because I don't want nobody thinking like, he just making up stuff. No. I ain't got no problem with brothers. Like me and my friends get along good. Yeah, you and your friends. Yeah. See, so I wanted people to be like, yeah, he painted a good picture. He spelled it all out. So the next time you see SPEAKROC on the street, know that I don't want nothing from you. And know that I know the history. So please, sir, once again, help us out. Help us. What can you tell us for us to be better towards one another?
Man, the biggest thing that I've learned probably the last 15 years was I was guarded. I had trust issues. If you can't trust your mama and your daddy, you ain't trusting too many other people. But I was fortunate enough to meet some really good guys. And why they decided to befriend me, I really still don't know. Because my best friend, I tried to fight him in the bathroom the first time we met. My next friend, I threatened to punch him in the face for staring at me in the hallway. My third one, I picked on him because he wore glasses. Now, this is all in middle school. How these guys end up being my day ones and die to this day, they love me before I love myself. And I think that's the issue. We have a lot of self-hate. Because like I said about my mom and dad, if you don't trust your parents, you ain't trusting many other people. But if you don't trust and respect yourself, you definitely ain't trusting nobody else outside of your immediate circle. And so what I've started doing, or I've been doing it since my fatherhood class, when I see dudes, I speak to everybody first off. I speak just like with women sometimes. You got to speak and keep moving. You can't speak and try to talk to them right then because they think you up something, you want something, right? So I speak and I keep moving. Then if I see them again, I speak, hey, brother, I know you live around these places, blah, blah, blah. You know, I would just start a generic conversation and be like, all right, bro, just want to holler at you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Holler at you, be good, you know, be safe out in these streets, you know, that's it. And I've learned to build relationships one piece at a time. Everybody isn't open because we are guarded. If you think about it, I'm from the east side, I'm from the west side, I'm from the north side, I'm from the south side. We were taught not to trust each other. We were taught not to be unified unless there's some tragic thing that happens that unifies our community. But because of the history, whether it's through slavery, whether it's through Jim Crow, whether it's through Papa was a Rolling Stone, whether it's through crack or mass incarcerations, Black men have been under fire in this country since the beginning of this country. And now we're in a position to where we're no longer under fire as much, but we still don't trust each other. So I don't know you, but I'm still going to give my energy to you. Hey, what's up, bro? Good to see you. Hey, man, I love that shirt. Where you get that from? You from here? You know, I'll ask about 4 or 5 questions in a row. Hey, what's the best spot to eat around here, man? What's happening tonight? What's going on? And sometimes I found out if you break the ice and just generally ask questions, whether you speaking and moving, whether you starting a conversation in the elevator, or you guys, you know, I've went to bus stops and I got a car. And I went to the bus stop and just chill before and I'm like, yo, bro, what's up? Where you from here? Okay, yeah, so how the bus system work around here? Oh, where you from, bro? I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm from a little town called Henderson. Oh, you from Henderson? Oh, okay, yeah, I got people in Henderson. Next thing you know, we got a conversation going. Right. And then I see this same cat in the mall, you know, 2 weeks later, and I'm, you know, hey, man, what's your name again? Tell me his name. We chop it up for a few minutes. And it's so many people that know me that I don't even know because I met so many people I've forgotten. So it's like, I don't think there's a formula or a secret to it. It's just having really good energy and not trying to do too much up front.
Now, that sounds good for the brother that want to meet other brothers.
Oh, yeah. I got you.
Now, but what about the brother that needs to be meeting other brothers, but he got those issues that he's hiding?
You meet them where they are.
No, what I'm asking you is them. What advice do you have for them also on how they need to get past what they're dealing with because it's holding them back?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. If they're not making good relationships, they're making bad relationships. Either way, they're going to make a relationship. But I believe those things that hold you back, those hurts from the past, people who have done you wrong, it's holding you back. How can they overcome that and make good relationships with people such as yourself?
That is pretty much, it's tough, but it's a choice. That's why it's tough, because it's a choice. The thing that holds most people back is their pride or their ego. They don't, we live in such a show and tell society. I don't want to seem like I have less than you. I don't want to seem like I'm not on your level. I don't want to seem like I don't have it together because I'm faking the funk to my girl that I got it together. She know I don't, but she ain't gonna tell me I don't. So I don't want to come back. I don't want to come to you because I know I don't really measure up. Because I went through that where I would watch guys from afar and I wouldn't really say nothing. But when your son tell you that he don't want you to be his dad, I mean, that's a stroke to the ego. And I decided, you know what? My ego is what's going to cause me not to never win. So I need to drop this ego. I need to go seek out this help. So for me, it was a choice. It wasn't an easy one because I had severe trust issues. But I made the decision to read more books. I would go to bookstores and I'd meet people in bookstores. Like, hey, bro, you read this book yet? Oh, what book you got right there? I'm looking for a good book. Just to start a conversation, just kind of see where it go. And quite honestly, to this day, it's like no matter what level you get to, there's always somebody you're going to look up to and be like, oh man, I wish I need to get there. I'm not there yet. I want to elevate my game. I need to get my health more together. I need to get my finances better together. You know, there's always a measuring stick for us out there somewhere. And so I've just made the decision. Now, sometimes I'll approach and be like, hey bro, what's going on? My name is Jamon. I'm new to the area. You know, what's good around here? Bro, no, it's all right. And they turn around and walk off. I've had that. Be like, oh, okay, cool. But that's a you problem, not a me problem. It's ego. It's ego. If I drop my ego and I extend my hand and you don't extend yours back, that's an ego problem. I don't need to know you yet because I'm not ready to deal with that situation yet. So that's how I look at it. Everybody don't want something from you. Everybody ain't trying to take advantage of you.
Right.
Most people, we all want the same thing. We want to live. We want to be as happy as we can. We want to raise good kids and we want to live a good life. And we're all afraid that somebody's trying to take something from us. If we're insecure or you got some ego concerns. You know, but once you get rid of that, you realize, I'm just blessed to be here, bro. I'm just blessed to be here. I'm happy. You know, I choose not to be angry no more. I choose not to have animosity with my brothers anymore. Just like with you. I reached out to you because I like what you're doing. And if we never did anything, I want you to know I respect what you're doing. Keep pushing.
Thank you, brother.
And so it's just ego, man. Just if I can tell my young brothers anything, ego is good, but don't let it hold you back from getting to your next level.
Wow. That'll preach on Sunday, man.
It'll preach on Sunday?
That'll preach on Sunday. I like that one. Hey, matter of fact, you keep saying something too. That's probably gonna be your next book. Dang, what are you, man? You gonna make me? I'm definitely gonna look at this video again. You say there's something you keep saying. You gonna say it again? I bet you before we get out. But look, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up real quick. But two things I want to cover before I let you go.
Okay.
Tell us what you're doing. Tell us about your whole platform. Tell us about Thrive, because you got a podcast. I forgot to mention that.
Yes, sir.
You know, once again, you say by skill and by trade, you're a videographer. I mean, so you're talented on that end. You got your Thrive website that's up and running, and it lists pretty much everything that you do. Where are you operating at? Where are you going next? What's up with Thrive? And what's up with Jamon?
Okay. So Thrive Entertainment, my tagline is life affirming media. Mm-hmm. So I want to create content that uplifts people. Like that fatherhood class I was doing, I want to tell stories that talk about the struggle and the overcoming. And I want to do it from a holistic area. My childhood, I'm probably going to tell a lot of my stories and put it on film. I've been a videographer for probably the past 10 years. Now I'm in the process. I'm finna switch and do more writing and more producing my own content. I want my own platform, which is why I started a podcast. The podcast is really about faith, fatherhood, and leadership. And so it's a variety of things that we cover. My co-host, Lance Jones. Lance is educator by trade. And so Lance he's more professorial than I am. I'm more, what's the word? I'm like the color analyst.
There you go.
If anything. And so he's really big in the fatherhood space as well. So the podcast, we're shifting right now. And I think we're headed in a slightly different direction because mentorship has become such a big factor in my life. I'm doing a lot of coaching and speaking on mentoring. The biggest thing about mentoring is people always say, I don't really have time to go do this or have time to do that. Well, truth is, you do. We have time to do anything we want to do. It doesn't take all day to be a mentor. 15 minutes, 5 minutes, an encouraging word, that's all mentorship. When you see a young kid that's trying, and instead of, even like with your own kids, your kid might be struggling doing something, and instead of giving the command or judging, saying, hey, make a big deal out of, hey, come here, bro, come here. I like what you just did right there. It's all about building self-esteem, building confidence. Because just like I know, when you get confidence in one area, it's contagious. Now you think you can do this. Oh, my crossover game is nice. Watch this J. Oh, I got that J. I'm gonna dunk next. I'm gonna dunk.
Right.
So everything you do, you confident in, it bleeds over to the next thing. So I'm all about building, especially my brothers, building the confidence, building that the internal thing that says, I may not know how to do it yet, but I'm gonna figure it out and I'm gonna be good at it. I want that. I want movement. I want to change culture through the entertainment space. So with the films that I'm gonna be working on next year, with the podcast, the book, my story is getting out there. So I'm getting a lot of buzz right now because people are reading the book and they're asking questions and they're saying, hey, do you speak on this? And I'm like, what's crazy, when I first started trying to be a speaker, I would speak on anything. You want me to speak on how to tie your shoes? I do that.
Right.
But I realized that's not my lane. My lane is not to be Tony Robbins. My lane is not to be Les Brown. I'm Jamon. Nobody can be Jamon like I can be Jamon. And what is near and dear to Jamon's heart? Leadership, fatherhood, and mentorship, because they changed my life. So I can be passionate about it and not to compete with anybody else, because they changed my life, and because it changed mine, I can give it and it'll change somebody else's. Yeah, what was your question again? Oh, I got you. I'm doing what I'm doing.
I probably threw you off because I was smiling, and I hate to say it, I was patting myself on the back a little bit, because when you said it, your lane, leadership, fatherhood, mentorship. Yeah. I believe our interview has gone that direction.
Yeah.
And honestly, once again, I have nothing scripted. And this was just me, researching you, talking to you. And I just had this in my mind. And I was just like, yeah, I need to talk to this brother about that. And I believe our interview has went that direction. Talking about leadership, talking about mentorship, talking about fatherhood. And you just brought it full circle. And I'm gonna tell you something, brother. That's unique. That's because I see a lot of speakers. I've met quite a few speakers. Not many of them, well, not any that I've met. The Bible says there's nothing new under the sun, but I haven't met anyone who's utilizing the platform like what you're talking about. Now, there's a lot of people that make clips and put it on YouTube, and they do interviews and things of that nature, like what I'm doing now. But I'm not a videographer. My material ain't going to be nothing like yours. So anything that's aesthetic and pleasing to the eye, and it tells a story and you hear it, you're getting a double dose of receiving it. And once again, by you having the skill to make it pleasing to the eye, I'm excited for what you're talking about doing, bro, because it just sounds big. It sounds huge. It sounds not only just educating, but it's good viewership. If you want to be honest about it, like people watch documentaries and things like that all the time.
All the time, yeah.
We watch it because it was quality. It's made well, and guess what? I'm learning something from it. So you onto something, man. You are definitely onto something.
When I first started thinking of the idea, I was like, I want to get my stuff on OWN, the Oprah Winfrey Network. I want I can write some stuff that Tyler Perry might even want to produce. And then it hit me. Oh, that's cool, but we live in a day and age, I don't need them. I don't, you know, it'll be cool, but I don't need them. I can create my own platform with YouTube, with podcasts, with Netflix. I mean, there's so many things I can, Amazon. I mean, everybody does read their own stuff now. So all I need to do is keep doing what I'm doing, building up my following, changing people, impacting lives, and putting content out there. And if it's quality, if it's pleasing, it'll catch. It'll be whatever it needs to be. And if it gets picked up somewhere down the road, that's great, but I don't even care about that anymore. I just want to do things that change people's opinions of themselves and changes the culture.
Well, you stay modest, dog. I care about it for you then. You stay modest and don't care. I'll be praying for you and pray that it do get picked. I mean, somebody got to do it. I mean, the world needs to do it, because we're dealing with these situations. Everything you're talking about, we're dealing with. So it needs that exposure. So if it's your own platform or if it's on one of the platforms you mentioned, Tyler, Oprah, whatever, I don't care. Let's get it out there. With that being said, man, talk to us how we can get in touch with you. All the ways, all your platforms, email, website, social medias. Talk to us, man.
Okay, well, the number one way to get in touch with me is go to JamonGloverSpeaks.com. That's JamonGloverSpeak.com.
You know I'm gonna clown you. From now on, I'm gonna clown you, boy. You should have told me. Oh my God.
I'm telling you, when I tell people my name, and like my name is Jamon, they be like, Jamon? I'm like, Jam On. Oh, Jam On, that's cool. I like that. So I just like Jam On G Lover. Oh, I can remember that. Okay, Speaks.
We can remember that.
Yeah, they can remember that. But when I say Jamon Glover Speaks, yeah, I couldn't find your website. How you spell Jamon? J-E-R-M. Like, no. Nah. I had to make it plain for the people, man.
Oh,
but that's where
man.
you can find me. There you can get links to the podcast. From there you can get links to my Thrive Entertainment channel. I'm also Jamon Glover Speaks on IG, at Jamon Glover on Twitter, Jamon Glover Speaks, and at Jamon Glover on Facebook. And the podcast is Thrive Podcast. It's on iTunes. It's on, what's the orange one? SoundCloud, Stitcher, and Libsyn. So it's out there. I'm on episode 86 now. So we're making strides. It's tough to get to 100, bro. Just FYI. It's tough to get to 100, but they say when you hit 100, you got something. That's what the experts say. Because by 100, you've really found your voice by the 100th show.
Get after it, man. Get after it. You got it.
So that's what I'm pushing for.
Dude, I love it, man. I gotta finish this. I have to finish this. And I'm highly advising y'all, brothers and sisters. I know we spoke a lot about men, but there's something in here for the sisters too. Good life lessons, coming from a man with a good, genuine heart for the people. And, we're just not talking about the African-American community, even though, we love y'all and we reach out to y'all because we want y'all. We get it. But I don't care if you're a polka dot. This is some good stuff right here. And let's support this brother. Oh, tell him what? Amazon, right? I mean, how else do we Amazon, PayPal? What's up?
Yeah, you can get it. If you go to my website, you follow the link, you can get it from Amazon. If you got Prime, it's free 2-day shipping. The audio version is gonna be fire. When I tell you fire, the audio version is still a little ways from being done because as you can see, it's a thick book. But the audio version is gonna be fire. So that's gonna be coming down the road. The ebook you can get, also the paperback, primarily from Amazon. And if you see me in them streets, holler at me. I always carry them in my trunk too. Just don't break in my trunk and take them.
Got that hustler in them. I got them in the trunk.
I'm like Master P selling ice cream back in the day.
Hey, gotta do it. Hey, man, look, it's been fun, man. Man, thank you for your time, bro.
Hey, bro, I appreciate you for doing what you do, man. I just want to be a part of what you got going on.
Man, I'm excited, man. The people, I know the people gonna love this one. Hey, matter of fact, I look forward. You know, you and I talked offline. I don't know what we gonna do next, but we gonna do something next.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely link up and do something.
Yeah, we gonna link up and do something, right? And they ain't ready, man. They ain't ready. They ain't ready. I don't know if me and you share the same stage. I don't know what'll happen.
I'm telling you, man. It's I think I said this before. The days of being the best kept secret is over.
That's true, man.
Yep.
That's true.
Yep. Hey, it's no time like the present, and if you got the thought and then the want to or the hustle, just don't quit. Just keep pushing every day and don't quit. Things will happen for you.
For sure, man.
Anybody that's listening, don't give up on your dreams. They can happen, but only you have to make them happen, though. Nobody ain't gonna give it to you. You got to go get it.
You ain't lied about that, man. Woo! Hey, look, y'all just heard it. Jamon Glover speaks. Hey, it's your brother, SPEAKROC. Hey, I'm just a brother from Detroit. What do I know? Listen to Jamon. Hey, I love y'all, and I'm out of here. Hey, peace, bro.
Peace.
Salute.